shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Hurricane Francine already bringing rain to the Gulf Coast. We'll show you when it makes landfall, what the impacts will be along the Gulf Coast and here.
Today marks 23 years since the attacks on 9/11. The remembrances happening today here and across the country to honor the victims and first responders.
And for the first time, we will learn how all UNC system universities plan to repurpose money and jobs that previously supported diversity, equity, and inclusion. 4:30 is the time right now. A busy Wednesday morning here. We're ready to get you up to speed as you wake up. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. We thank you for starting your Wednesday with us. Let's get started with the tropics. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. People along the Gulf Coast closely watching Francine.
Definitely. This storm's going to make landfall later on this afternoon or this evening. Just to the west of New Orleans. New Orleans will have some significant impacts, but landfall likely to be right here along the coast of Louisiana. Lots of heavy rain, storm surge up to 9 feet, of course, and it's likely to be at least a Category 1 storm when it makes landfall. So wind will be somewhat of an issue as well. You can see the storm looking very symmetrical here this morning on the satellite view. It's about 275 miles southwest of the coast of Louisiana right now. Moving northeast at 10, a little faster than we were seeing yesterday. It was kind of creeping along at 5 miles per hour. Winds at 90 miles per hour at this point. And you can see the hurricane moving northward. Here's 8 a.m. This is 8 a.m. on Thursday. So again, sometime late afternoon, evening, it's likely to make landfall almost right there along the central coast of Louisiana. Moving northward and dissipating right there along the Mississippi Valley as we get through Friday and Saturday. It's going to fall apart fairly quickly. We can watch that as it goes northward Thursday and takes all the rain to the north. But there will be a boundary that sits here to the east of it, and that is likely to bring us at least some rain over the weekend. Right now, it looks like it's going to be fairly light at best, but we'll kind of walk through what our chances for rain are coming up in just a little while. It's a nice clear morning for us here in downtown Raleigh, 60 degrees currently. Our dew point at 56, so a little warmer than yesterday, but our dew point still nice and comfortable in the 50s. It's 52 in Roxborough, 55 in Goldsboro, and 57 in Southern Pines this morning. Our high this afternoon will climb into the low 80s again, feeling much like yesterday. Again, as I mentioned, coming up, we're going to talk more about what sort of rainfall we may see from Francine.
Today, the Republican-led State House is expected to approve hundreds of millions of dollars in additional funding for private school vouchers. The so-called Opportunity Scholarships provide up to $7,500 for families to send their kids to private school. It amounts to more than $250 million in public money. 50,000 families have been on a wait list for those scholarships. Republicans support the measure, but Democrats believe the large price tag takes away from public school investment. This bill would also require sheriff's offices to comply with requests from federal immigration and customs enforcement officials. A group of organizations dedicated to providing more resources to public schools is holding a news conference against that bill. Every Child NC's Stop Private School Vouchers press conference will take place outside the legislative building about 12:30 this afternoon. The House is expected to vote around 2.
This morning, we'll learn for the first time how all UNC system universities are repurposing dollars and jobs previously supporting diversity, equity, and inclusion. The Board of Governors repealed its DEI policy during the summer and replaced it with one stressing principled neutrality. Universities, including UNC Chapel Hill and NC State, had until September 1st to submit their plans to reallocate the money and reorganize jobs for DEI on their campuses. WRAL will have a camera in the room when those new policies are unveiled and discussed. This morning, we'll get a better idea of how the cost of the items you buy for your family is changing. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from Raleigh this morning. And Kelsey, economists are predicting this latest CPI report will show that inflation is slowing down.
Renee, exactly. So that new economic report will show where we stand today. And we see the impacts of inflation the most here at the grocery store and at the gas pump. Economist Gerald Cohen with UNC says inflation is cooling down even though prices are still up. He says data shows people's wages are catching up to inflation. It just doesn't feel that way. Everyday grocery store items are still more expensive than pre-pandemic prices, but prices for other goods like used cars are going down. The This new report should give us an indication on what the Fed will do with interest rates. Economists are anticipating that inflation will go down and the Fed will drop interest rates as a result. So that report is expected to be released this morning at 8:30. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Registered voters who watched last night's presidential debate say Vice President Kamala Harris turned in a better performance than former President Donald Trump. According to a CNN poll, 63% said Harris outperformed Trump. Prior to the debate, the same voters were evenly split on who would do better. Voters gave Trump a 20-point advantage over Harris after the debate on handling the economy, 55% to 35%. 82% of people who watched the debate say it didn't affect their choice for president, while only 4% said it changed their minds. The majority on a Fox News voter panel post-debate said that they believe Harris won the debate.
The Harris campaign is calling for another debate in October. They made the comments moments after the end of last night's event in Philadelphia. Trump has also called for more debates, so a second matchup between the two seems likely in the future. Meanwhile, vice presidential candidates Senator J.D. Vance and Governor Tim Walz have agreed to a debate on October 1st.
President Biden praised Harris's debate performance just after midnight. The president wrote in a post on X. The debate wasn't even close. He went on to say Harris proved she's the best choice to lead our nation forward.
Harris and Trump sparred over key issues during the debate last night, none more pressing than the economy. We'll start with hearing from the vice president first, since the question was directed to her, and then we'll hear Trump's response.
His plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations.
I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else.
Coming up at 5, Michelle McConaughey will join us in the studio to break down their responses on another important topic to voters, immigration policies.
And today, our WRAL News poll takes an in-depth look at the top issues for this election, from immigration to the economy, crime, and much more. We will reveal which issues will matter the most at the polls in North Carolina. Those results start this afternoon at 4 o'clock on WRAL.
Today, President Biden and Vice President Harris will commemorate the lives lost on September 11th, 2001. Biden and Harris will participate at a ceremony at Ground Zero in New York City. Then they will fly to Shanksville, Pennsylvania to take part in a wreath-laying ceremony at the Flight 93 Memorial. They will then go to the Pentagon for a wreath-laying ceremony there.
This morning, leaders at Fort Liberty will honor those who lost their lives during the attack. A remembrance ceremony will be held on the main parade field starting at 8:30 this morning. This is video from last year's ceremony. This morning, there will be a prayer and a 21-gun salute, and then wreaths will be laid at the foot of the Fort Liberty Eternal Flame, which is held in a cauldron made of steel salvaged from the World Trade Center. This is a live look right now at Satellite Loop. Hurricane Francine, as it heads toward the Louisiana coast this morning, it is expected to make landfall later this evening. Evacuation orders, though, are in place right now in several of those coastal communities. Louisiana governor has issued a state of emergency there. The center mass likely to pass very close by New Orleans. Coastal communities in Texas are already filling up with water as well as Francine dumps heavy rain.
We've learned 40 North Carolina schools faced threats yesterday, forcing them into lockdown. That includes schools in Wake and Moore counties. A crisis hotline received a tip that a gunman was heading to Aberdeen Elementary, prompting an urgent soft lockdown. The Moore County Sheriff determined the threat was a hoax. Students were sent home with extra precautions.
It's a new world we're living in, so it's something we got to deal with. Luckily, the law enforcement here, I feel, was pretty much on top of it in Moore County. So I feel pretty safe, but you never know.
Investigators have not released whether they have any leads about who is responsible.
Coming up on 4:40 right now on your Wednesday, SpaceX's Polaris Dawn mission has already made history. We'll tell you the NASA record this crew has surpassed as they prepare for their risky spacewalk.
And we'll tell you about the FDA investigation looking into the potential harm to women from heavy metals found in tampons.
Hey, take a look at this live look at Franklinton. Good morning to you. Another beautiful morning, a cool start, but when things will start to turn a little bit more muggy again.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
4:42, it's a nice quiet morning, and what a lovely evening it was last night for baseball. They've got the sprinklers on there at the DBAP, the last home stand of the season, and the weather looks great for the next couple of nights. 60 in Durham, 60 in Raleigh, and 60 in Fayetteville. Our temperatures this morning are running maybe just a handful of degrees warmer than yesterday. Not anything that's very noticeable. We're still looking at 50s in most places. 54 in Lewisburg, 55 in Tarboro, 56 in South Hill, 59 in Goldsboro as you're stepping out. Great morning for exercise with these temperatures. It's quiet, it's clear. I saw a bunch of stars when I walked in this morning at our temperatures. And it wasn't just Jeff and Renee, actually. Our temperatures are in the low 80s. Oh, ba-dum-bum. And our temperatures are going to be pleasant this afternoon.
Your time is 4:43 here in the WRAL Life Center. Good morning. I'm Chris Lovinga, getting you some pretty intense images coming out of Melbourne, Australia, as there are protesters clashing with police. This happened within the last several hours, according to the Associated Press. They were clashing with Students for Palestine and Disrupt Wars. It's a group that organized this event. Police say protesters threw bottles, rocks, even horse manure at police. And so officers then, in turn, used pepper spray and rubber bullets. Investigators are also saying that people were throwing substances on police, and some of it was described as acid. So far, 24 officers have needed medical treatment, 39 protesters have been arrested, and a total of 1,800 officers were deployed to this area because of this.
Chris, thanks. Dominion Energy crews worked past 10 last night to repair a gas leak in Wake Forest. Officials say a construction crew hit a gas line while working near Heritage Center Drive off Rogers Road. A nearby business had to be evacuated.
Tens of thousands of people are under wildfire evacuation warnings right now in the western part of our country. Officials say the U.S. now has more than 70 large active fires. Some are growing rapidly. In Orange County, California, what's called the airport fire is expanding rapidly after igniting Monday. 2 other fires are also close by. Some people can see all 3 from one spot. 7 other states are also facing wildfire issues.
Classes are canceled at a high school in Omaha, Nebraska today after police say a 14-year-old shot another student. The 15-year-old boy who was shot is in the hospital with serious injuries. He is expected to survive. This happened just before 12:30 yesterday at Omaha Northwest High School. Police say they found and arrested the 14-year-old 30 minutes later, about 3 blocks away from the school.
This morning, the crew of the Polaris Dawn SpaceX mission has already traveled 870 miles from Earth, the furthest any human has ventured since the Apollo missions. Today, the crew will pass through the radiation belts. They will record their own exposure levels for future SpaceX moon missions. Then tomorrow, the crew will attempt the first commercial astronaut spacewalk, leaving the entire spaceship open to the vacuum of space. In an interview before beginning this mission, crew members said they're prepared.
Objectively, it would be the riskiest part of the mission. It's also the one that's received rightfully probably the majority of the last 2.5 years of attention.
Now, when they open the spaceship, the crew will be flying too high to communicate with the International Space Station if something goes wrong. So the biggest challenge comes after the spacewalk ends. They'll have to close the hatch on board the capsule, get pressurization back to normal, and then safely return to Earth.
This week, we could learn the new name of PNC Arena. The Centennial Authority, which owns the arena, is meeting this afternoon. They also scheduled a special meeting for tomorrow to approve a contract with a new partner for naming rights. A new trailer video for the NHL 25 video game offers a hint at this new name. It shows the arena as the Lenovo Center.
Wake School's leaders say they need to do more to cut back on the number of times students are physically restrained or secluded. About 400 students were restrained or secluded last year for a total of about 1,400 times. The school system has been training staff on when and how to restrain or seclude students. The report was required after a settlement with a family whose daughter was secluded numerous times without their knowledge.
The FDA is investigating the potential harm heavy metals found in tampons can have on women's bodies. It follows the July publication of a small pilot study that found arsenic and lead in organic and non-organic tampons. Although the levels of both metals were low, the EPA says there is no safe level of exposure to lead. The FDA lab study will mimic normal use of tampons to see just how much, if any, metals may be released into the human body when they're used.
Today, more than 60 volunteers will gather at Raleigh National Cemetery to honor the 23rd anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. They'll clean headstones and the cemetery grounds. It's all part of an effort by the national nonprofit Carry the Load, which will host cleanups today at 2,000 cemeteries nationwide. The event starts at 10 o'clock this morning.
The town of Morrisville has set the date for this year's International Festival. It will happen on September 21st on Town Hall Drive near Healthy Food Hub. The festival celebrates Morrisville's diverse community. It brings people together for a day of food, dance, music, art, and fun.
4:48 is the time right now. We give you this live look in downtown Raleigh, and two of a kind. Go over to Elizabeth Gardner. Look at this shot. Right behind you, Elizabeth. Right behind you. I want to see it.
Here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. Ta-da! It's such a pretty one at night. You know, a lot of the cameras look dark at night, and so it's nice to pick the ones where at least there's a little bit of light and color to see. And of course, this is the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences, where it is 60 degrees right now with a dew point of 56. So feeling very comfortable this morning. Skies are mainly clear. Looking at a day that'll feel very much like yesterday. We were just talking about Polaris Dawn, and we got so many great pictures in yesterday. This is Keisha Atkinson from Elizabeth City. Look at that. You can see what happened as the launch was taking place. Glorious sights. A lot of people got to see it. It was about 5:30 in the morning yesterday, just a little bit later than we are right now. We'd love to see your Weather Watcher photos. Go to WRAL.com and search Weather Watchers and send us what you have. What's happening in your backyard? 52 in Roxborough, 56 Rocky Mount and Goldsboro, at 60 in Fayetteville, and 57 in Southern Pines, 60 around the Triangle. Of course, the big story today is what is happening here in the Gulf of Mexico with Hurricane Francine as it continues to move northward up here toward Louisiana. You can see just how far inland it's spreading rain into the Gulf Coast and farther north. We're not likely to see much rain out of this. However, most of it will be confined to the Mississippi Valley. So we're looking at some cloud cover increasing. Our humidity will go up a little bit, but in terms of showers, it's going to be minimal for us. Friday through Sunday will be our best chance of any showers from Francine, but we may have some showers that linger into early next week. The heaviest rain will be along this warm front, but it looks like that front may stall to our south and not move across our area. So that's going to keep us a little drier. We'll pause it right here at landfall, which is likely to be around 5 o'clock or so, somewhere in the late afternoon, early evening hours. And then, of course, it moves up the Mississippi Valley, spreading some rain out ahead of it. But watch how that rain dissipates on Thursday as it moves toward us. We'll pause it right there in the early morning hours of Friday. And there may be a few more light showers into the weekend, but nothing heavy. Around town today, 83 in Raleigh, 82 in Durham, and 83 in Fayetteville. Looking nice, feeling very comfortable for it today. But by tomorrow and through the weekend, we will feel a lot more humid. The last homestand of the year for the Durham Bulls looks great. We'll see mostly cloudy skies for today, Thursday, and Friday, but temperatures are going to be great, and it should be nice and dry. Friday, there's only a 20% chance of showers. Temperatures will be in the 70s. Starting tomorrow with some additional cloud cover, we do see cooler temperatures for highs around 80 degrees. We do see a 30% chance of showers on Sunday, and then a 50% chance on Tuesday. Tuesday would be unrelated to Francine.
Elizabeth, thanks. A Dunn police officer is being recognized for his heroism. We'll tell you how he was able to help a woman in danger after he was already shot himself.
And how the tables turned. We'll explain how Australian breakdancer Reagan went from ridicule to #1 in the world after her performance at the Paris Olympics.
A Dunn police officer is being honored for his heroic action during a convenience store shooting while he was off duty. Joshua Elliott was presented an award for valor at the Greater Fayetteville Chamber's 6th Annual Valor Awards ceremony last night. Despite being shot himself, Officer Elliott managed to help a woman involved in a domestic violence incident. The department says it is proud to have Elliott on its team.
A hairstylist in South Carolina is taking her passion and using it to help women battling illnesses. Denise Hammond has been styling hair for 25 years. Now she's dedicating her time and talents to making wigs for women dealing with hair loss for various reasons, including cancer. A military veteran says she lost her sister to cancer several years ago, and it helped to inspire her. Hammond recently found Wigs for Warriors with the philosophy of when you look good, you feel good.
We're getting a first look at the biopic of Donald Trump's life called The Apprentice.
What if you lost your fortune today?
Well, then maybe I'll run for president. I don't know.
Sebastian Stan transforms into a young Trump in the 1970s. The movie follows Trump's rise under the mentorship of political fixer Roy Cohn, played by Jeremy Strong. It hits theaters October 11th.
The Australian breakdancer who went viral during the Paris Olympics is now ranked #1 in the world. The dancer known as Reagan reached that ranking despite failing to score any points across her Olympic dances. The World Dance Sport Federation says the 37-year-old secured the top spot after she came in first place at the 2023 Oceania Continental Championships. Now, the Paris Games and the Olympic qualifier events did not contribute to the ranking.
Here's a live look at New Orleans this morning. Francine making its way toward the Louisiana coastline this morning. We'll show you the latest path.
A key inflation report will be released in just a few hours. It'll give us a better idea if an interest rate cut is on the way. We'll tell you what the experts expect.